Alright, so what we're going to do now is return to our storyboard. And what we're going to do is have a look, skip through CSV, and the next thing we'll look at is related reports. So the first type of related report we'll have a look at is what we call a co-display. And this is the most simple form of a related report. And basically it's a way of displaying multiple reports on the same page. And the reason we might do this is to put two reports on the same page outside of the dashboard, because obviously the dashboard lets you do that. And the reason we might do this is so that we can export them together in the one PDF and so on, or just there might be user scenarios that require you to do that. The next type of related report we're going to look at is drill through. Basically what drill through allows you to do is link multiple reports together based on filters. So what the scenario would be is you might create a summary report that looks at the total days sales figures by store, and from there you might want to allow your users to click on a particular sales figure, and what that would do is open up a secondary report which might have been designed to show all the transactions for the day, and the secondary report will be filtered by the particular store that you click on, so it will only show the transactions for that store. So you have this high-level summary report with store totals. You click on it and then you see the transaction breakdown. So it's a way of investigating further in separate reports. Now when you set up drill through, there are several types of drilling that we'll have a look at, but basically the first one is drill through, which we just talked about, where you pass a filter from one report to another. The second is conditional drill through, which basically says depending on what you click on, you might go to a different report. So it's the same thing as drill through, except that depending on what you click on, you may branch off differently. So in the summary report, if we had we had shops within Australia and we had shops within the US, if I click on an Australian store, it will take me to the Australian transaction breakdown, which has all the appropriate tax data and things like that. Whereas if I click on a US store, it goes to a separate US transaction report that shows me different taxes and things. The next type we'll have a look at is what we call a direct link, and basically this is just a click on a report and see the next report, but we don't actually pass through any relationship, so no filtering. And finally we have a conditional direct link, which is the same thing, but depending on where you click you'll go to a different report, but again no filtering. Okay, so that's related reports. Let's have a look at how they work. So we're just going to investigate our dashboard and see what we can find here. And if I go to my drill, I've picked the wrong tab. If I go to my drill tab, we'll have a look at how they work. So we have a drill through report here. And basically what that allows you to do is click on a particular sales figure, so North America in 2016. It takes you away from here and shows you a separate report, and that report has been filtered by North America in 2016. But funnily enough, this report is actually what we call a co-display, because you can see here we have a table with filters, but we also have an unrelated pie. So this pie was created on a separate database. So let's go ahead and create a co-display report. So we'll just create a really basic report. And I might just do a little bit of quick editing. Okay, so this report looks pretty simple. The next thing we'll do is enable co-display. So we just tick that. And we now get a related report step. So if I access that, what's going to happen now is I'm going to drag a field into my co-display areas. So I can put it in any of these co-display panels. And the reason they're laid out like this is to show you how they will be displayed in relation to your main report. So the main report is the table we just created. So I'm going to find a pie chart and put it next to my table. And we're going to go to the output now. Okay, so what you can see is we have one table here. Then we have our secondary report, which actually has a pie and a table. So really a co-display report is there to provide supporting information that you can't get out of a single report. Now what we're going to do with drill through is we're just going to delete this report. We're going to set up a drill through report. And to do that, we're actually going to plan how to design that. So firstly, I'm going to design what I want my report to look like. So my main report is going to be top 10 camps by sales. Okay, so basically my fields are going to be rank. Let's just write this down. Rank, camp name, and then sales. And I'm also going to allow a filter by date. So basically I want to have this top 10 performing camps so I can see how well they're going and which are performing the best. And then I'm going to allow my users to click on each individual camp and see how many athletes stayed and all the activity within the camp. So my second report, otherwise known as my child report, will contain my athletes. So it'll have my transaction dates, athlete name, and sales. And then the filter will be what we pass from this report. So when we click on this, we're going to say, well, I need to see this specific camp. So we're going to pass camp name. And I also need to just see the sales within the date range we saw here. So date. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're designing the two separate reports and then we're going to combine them. So we're going to link them up. So I'm going to start by creating my top report. So what I need here is I need my camp name, I need my sales, and I'm going to apply an advanced function which we learned about in the previous session. So I'm just going to go advanced function, top 10, and save. All right, then I'm going to drag that to the front to make it look a little bit better. And I'm also going to change the formatting. Okay, so we can see that we have our top 10 camps by sales. And another thing we're going to do is filter by date. All right, so once we're happy with this, we can save this report. Now you would give it a much better name than I'm providing. I'm just writing it like that so that we can find it easier in this scenario. But you might call it top 10 camp performance or something like that. All right, so there's my first report. It's very, very simple. Now we're going to create the second report. And what I'll do is actually copy this in order to use it. So what we needed in the second report was not this ranking. We needed camp name to be a filter, so we're just going to move that. And we also needed the invoice date to be a filter. I'm also going to put camp name in as a section so we get a little bit of info there. And what did we decide? We decided we wanted the transaction dates, the athlete name, and the sales. So I'm just going to put my transaction date, my athlete first and last name, and the sales, and I'm going to total that. All right, so once we're happy, we're just going to call this our child report. So basically now we have our two pieces. So we want to say, okay, the user can click on one of the camps and then it's going to take us to this report and only show us the table that matches that camp. Okay, so we're just going to find our parent report. So what we need to do is return to this parent report and link it to the child. So we're just going to edit the data step. We're going to enable drill through. And we're going to go to the related report step. So now what we need to do is find our child report. And I just drag that into my drill through. And on the right hand side, you'll see I have a list of options. So we're just going to use drill through for now, but these are those other options that I was talking about. And what it's doing is it's saying, okay, in this child report, I can see two filters. So what I need from you is to tell me how to get values for those filters from the parent report. So to do that, we're going to pass invoice date to invoice date and camp name to camp name. So we're effectively telling it where to find the correct values in the main report. Then finally, we're telling it where we want to click. So I'm going to say click on invoice amount. And we can choose to pop up a new window if we want. So what I'll do now is I'll just save my report and we'll go to the output step. So now what I'm going to do is click on, say, Red Lodge, and what I should see is a transaction report that totals up to 16,200 something thousand. So I'm just going to click on that. And yes, it does total to that. So let me just close it again. Now, if I picked a particular date range, I might pick Apex this time and I want 27,000. So if I click on that, you'll see we now have 27,000. And if I open this report fully, you'll see that it's filtered by Apex and the date range that we specified. All right, so that's drill through.